Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at some eye products and how to use them. So I won't have as many examples this week as I did last week because while I've tried different versions of things over the years, the only ones that I have on me now are the ones that I prefer. So I'll do my best to explain things as I go along. And I think most of these things won't be news to anybody, but I thought it's worth covering just in case there's someone out there who's not sure. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about eye products, then keep on watching. So I'm going to start off with the most obvious one, which is mascara. I don't think there's anybody out there who doesn't know about mascara, but just in case there's a little bit of, I don't know, confusion between the different types, I'm going to explain it anyway. So the main use of mascara is to make your eyelashes look thicker and fuller and to define them on your face. Someone like me who's got very fair eyebrows and eyelashes definitely needs mascara as a defining feature, because without it you just don't see them and the face looks very bare. So you can get different types of mascaras, obviously with different formulas and with different brushes. So the different formulas focus on specific areas, whether that be volumizing, lengthening or defining. You can also get regular formulas or you can get waterproof. Waterproof in particular is helpful for if you find that you get a lot of mascara rubbing off underneath your eyes, and that comes mostly due to eye shape than anything else. Also good if you do a lot of working out or a lot of hot sweaty work. And also for my eye shape, I get a lot of mascara rubbing off up here, so I find waterproof is better for that as well. There's also different brushes, of course. You can get silicone ones, which are very plasticky. They're very, they tend to be quite small and just with a lot of different spaced out bristles on them. And then you have the real brush kind of spoolie ones, which are thick, have crazy little bristles going everywhere, and you can get them in different sizes as well. There's also types that have a wand where it's more of a curve like that, so that it kind of hugs the lashes as it coats them. So in terms of which one's best for you, it's just trial and error. I think I've tried so many different mascaras. Some do what they say they're going to, some don't, so it's just a matter of having a go. Some have surprised me actually as to which ones were my favourite. And I mean, at the end of the day, you've just got to have realistic expectations. It's not going to make your eyelashes amazing, like it's not going to make them perfect, it's just going to help them be better than what they were. Next I'll be looking at eyeshadows. Eyeshadow's pretty basic. Again, I don't think it needs much explanation, but I just thought I'd talk through the different types because I know some people who are very new to makeup don't really notice that there's a difference. So I've got some examples for this one at least because it's pretty hard to explain. So there are matte eyeshadows. So that would be like, I've got the Lorac palette here. So the whole top row here are matte shadows. And you can tell that they're matte because there's no sparkle, there's no shine, they're just a colour. Whereas this bottom line here, they're all shimmery ones. If you move them in the light, you can see they sparkle, they've got lots of specks in them, so they end up being really shiny on your lid. So the key difference between those is how to use them and where to use them on your eye. So for example, you'd never use shimmery eyeshadow to go anywhere above the lid. I don't think. I can't picture a time when anybody would do that unless it's like for a costume or something. Generally sparkle and shimmery ones are always on the lid itself. Everything above that is matte eyeshadows with no sparkle, nothing. And to add to that, there's also, you can buy pigments, which is just like an eyeshadow except it's loose. So instead of being pressed tightly into a pan, it's in a little jar about this big and it's all loose. It can fly anywhere. It's just a loose powder. And so with that you need an adhesive, which usually you can buy along with it. So with those, it's a matter of getting your brush a little bit sticky, dabbing it into the loose shadow, and then putting the pigment on your lid. That's a bit tricky though. For beginners, I wouldn't even go there. I would just get used to using eyeshadows, like normal eyeshadows first before you even go there. Just thought I'd let you know it was there. Also there's things like base eyeshadows. So for example, MAC have their paint pots. They're in a little jar, little circle jar, and the idea of that is to put it all over your lid before you even start. So that acts as like a primer and just covers up any skin imperfections you have as well. A lot of people just use concealer instead of a base like that, so I tend to use concealer on a day-to-day basis just because it's easier. So that covers up any veins or colours I have and just makes the colours pop a little better. So same with the base shadow, the point of that is to make the colours pop and to make the eyeshadow last longer. Also, that's just made me think about how there's actually cream eyeshadows as well, so they're kind of wet and moussey in texture. I don't like these at all. But maybe if you have dry skin you find that they're good. They usually come in a little pot as well and you can rub them and apply them with your finger. I've never been a fan, but if you're interested, give it a go. An example of those would be like Stila have a lot of wet type makeup products, not just eyeshadows but across the board, like blushes as well. So if you have dry skin, that might be something that suits you better. And also, the last thing I wanted to touch on with eyeshadow was the packaging that they come in. So you can get them obviously pressed in a palette like the ones I showed you before, like that one where they're just pressed in a palette, or you can get them as individual pans and make your own palette. So for example, I've got my Z palette here and I've got all these individual shadows that I've bought separately. These are all Makeup Geek ones, which you can buy from the Makeup Geek website, or you can get these from MAC or Anastasia Beverly Hills. There's a whole lot of different brands that do these ones so that you can make up your own palette like this. It's up to you which way you go. Palettes are probably easier if you're starting out, getting a pre-made one because it's a bit cheaper, and then you don't have to worry about colour selection, it's already done for you. Next thing would be eyeliner. The first eyeliners I used, as did I think most people, were the pencil ones. They're certainly the easiest to use, quite affordable. Since trying other eyeliners though, they're my least favourite now. I find that for my eyes they end up smudging everywhere and make a complete mess. While they're easy to apply, they just don't last long enough and end up looking messy. So some people still really like them, particularly right in the waterline to get that really tight smoky line around the eye, and they're quite good for smudging out for that same reason if you want like a blown out smoky eye, because it's soft and I guess movable. That's what makes it so easy to use them for a smoky eye, but that also means that they smudge, so it depends how you find that works for your eyes. The next type which I used is the liquid liners. So they come usually in a pen, which you take off the lid and it's got like a felt tip pen, or you can get them like with a little pot that have a handle that screws out and then it's got like a very small paintbrush on the end, and then you can paint on the line. So I found them quite easy to use because it's ready to go. The colour's already on the brush itself and it's just a matter of painting it on. Unlike the pencil liners, you can't smudge them really. It's very much a defined line. Once it's on, so it does take a bit of practice to get that to look neat. I quite like them, but I find that they're not as long wearing, and they tend to have a little bit of a shiny look once they set, which probably doesn't bother most people, and at the end of the day it doesn't really matter, but for me it just wasn't my favourite to use. And the other type of eyeliner is gel eyeliners, so they come in a little pot like this one here. I've got as an example, this is the Maybelline Eye Studio one. So screw off the lid. They get pretty messy quite quickly, so mine's quite gunky. I'm not even sure if you can see in there. So it's a little pot of gel liner, and then you get the brush that you feel comfortable using. So usually it's it's an angled liner brush like this one here. You can see it's really, really thin and it's got like a slight angle on it. Or you can use just a single liner brush, which is just like a few bristles that are straight. There's a few different ones out there, but point being, you dip it into the pot and then you just glide it on across your eyelid. This is my preferred method and that's why I've got it, not the other types. It is a little trickier to apply because it is quite thick, and unlike the liquid ones where the liquid's already on the brush, this you kind of have to get it onto the brush first, get it coated enough and not too lumpy, and then try to smooth it on. It is a bit trickier, but it does last for ages because it is quite sticky. And it also dries matte, so that's my favourite type, although it is probably the hardest to apply. So it's up to you in terms of skill level and what you feel comfortable with. And really at the end of the day, like everything, it just takes practice. It took me a long time to feel comfortable to do this quickly. It took me probably most of half an hour to get gel eyeliner right the first time. So don't be intimidated by the fact that it's hard to begin with. Have a go, keep practicing, and you will get there. There's a few different options. Also try different formulas. The first pot gel liner I got didn't work very well. It was too thick, so it might not be you. Just try a few different formulas and different brushes as well, because that can change how it works. And the last thing on my list is eyebrow products. So again, it comes down to personal preference, but there's a few different ways you can do this, or you can combine them together and do a few different things. So firstly, there's you can get eyebrow gel. So that's quite similar to mascara in that it comes in a little tube. Usually they're quite short, and the tube is usually the colour of the product itself. And so you wind that out and it's just like a mascara spoolie, and then you just coat your eyebrows with it. This is really good if you're starting out with eyebrows and you don't want anything too intense. It's a really natural look because it just adds colour and thickness to your current eyebrows without doing anything too sharp or harsh. But also it's something that you can use with other products as well. So it's something that you can put on at the end of your eyebrow look so you keep your eyebrow hairs in place so they don't go crazy. The other method you can use is a pencil, which I find quite easy to use. I like the pencils actually, as long as it's quite smooth and not too rough to use. I find it really good at creating the really nice sharp line at the bottom and then drawing in individual hairs. Similarly to eyeliner, with the pencil ones, you can either get the ones that you sharpen, or there's the mechanical ones that you twist the end and it comes up at the end. Loads of brands have these now. NYX have some really good affordable ones, but obviously on the higher end of the scale, Benefit and Anastasia Beverly Hills would be the brands of choice, I guess. They're kind of the industry standard of eyebrow products. So if you're interested in having a look at the different kind of eyebrow products there are, that'd be the best brands to look at to start with. The other thing is shadow. I tend to use eyebrow shadow because I find it more natural and easier to use. So just like an eyeshadow really, it comes in a little pan. You get an angled brush, so kind of like this one that I showed you earlier, except much thicker, not quite as thin. And then it's just a matter of filling in the brows with the powder. How to go about that, there's a few different tutorials you can look up. But as I said before, it's practice and whatever works for you and your eyebrows, so just have a go doing different ways. And like I said before, you can use one of these products, like just the shadow, just a pencil, or you can use a combination of them. So you can use a pencil to do the bottom and then fill it in with shadow and then finish off with the gel. It's completely up to you. The other product you can use is a Pro-Made. So it looks very much like the gel eyeliner. It comes in a little pot and you use a brush just like the eyeliner brush to draw in strokes or to carve out the bottom of the eyebrow. Again, it's probably the hardest to use, but it does have a very striking effect and it lasts a very long time. So there's not something I would use for every day, but it is something I'd use for a more glamorous look or for a really long day where I'm doing a lot of stuff. So it's up to you which one you feel comfortable with. I'd start off with a pencil or a gel and then work up from there. And lastly, I'll just make mention of false eyelashes. They're certainly not necessary, but it is something else that I find quite helpful to add extra volume to your eye look that you just can't get from mascara. A lot of people just use lashes every day instead of mascara because it's easier than trying to get your mascara to work. I personally don't use them on an everyday basis because I think it looks a bit silly in my culture and where I work and the people I talk to. I'd look like an idiot if I wore eyelashes every day, so I save them for good occasions. But it's certainly up to you because they have so many different kinds. You can get glamorous ones, or you can get more natural looking ones, or you can get individual lashes as well. So you're just putting in a few at a time, which looks a lot more natural. Again, that's something that takes a bit of practice, getting used to using the glue and getting it in on the right spot. But as with everything, there's a lot of YouTube tutorials out there that you can check out with how to do that. I'm certainly not the best person at showing people how to do it because I'm quite clumsy myself. But if it's something you're interested, give it a Google, have a look for yourself because I'm sure there's much better examples out there. So I think that wraps up everything about eye products. I can't think of any other product I use on my eyes on a regular basis. So that's it from me today. I hope you had a good time. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about any of the products I've mentioned, please just leave a comment below. Next time I'll be doing a video about lip products because there's quite a few out there. You wouldn't think so, but there's a few different styles for different situations, so I'll talk through that next time. Thanks for watching and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time.